Hey guys, welcome to another English commentary done by Diggity. This match is going to be between Frozean and Ruby, part of the losers match of Saga MSL Group G. I'd like to say it's going to be as epic as the winners match. Unfortunately, these guys are not Terran versus Terran specialists, and in fact, I think Terran's their weakest match on both ends. We're going to see Frozean in the upper right-hand corner as the orange Terran, bottom left-hand corner Ruby as the green Terran. Again, Terran versus Terran. Speaking of colors, if you check the link under the description there, Fnatic Templar sent me a link there showing kind of the map colors. So tan is what we saw last match, but take a look at pale yellow versus yellow. If there was a game where two players were pale yellow and yellow, I would be so confused. I cannot tell the difference between those two colors. Also, a link under there, I was perusing Dig and Reddit, and guess what I came across? You got this thing for StarCraft courses opening at UC Berkeley. Pretty nifty, eh? So, hey, coincidence with that StarCraft math thing? Huh? Yes, absolute coincidence. Check that thread out as well at sc2gg.com. Hakel has a frickin' awesome, holy crap, an awesome formula there. Hopefully, we'll see if those courses decide to reference that. It's really sweet, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll listen to StarCraft commentary. I'd feel like such a hero if that was the case. Speaking of UC system, go ahead and check out teamliquid.net, and in their threads they have some organization going on in the UC systems to get some StarCraft clubs underway. I'm a UCSD student, formerly, and I think it would be sweet to get kind of an interleague UCSD thing going, and I think we might eventually be able to arrange something with like MIT and Yale on the other coast, because I know some people over there. Cough cholera, cough peanut. And I know that they've been arranging stuff, so kind of like a college, maybe that would be the start of more branching out of esports into the United States if colleges started going with, you know, little clubs here and there. So be a part of it, enjoy yourself. We're seeing that Barracks at an odd position there from Frozean. He's putting down his gas as well. Didn't see him the opposite side for Ruby, so Ruby might be thinking about a 14 command center. I think this is indicative of, I think he's either 36 or 38% versus Terran. He's excellent against Zerg, almost at 70% against Zerg, but otherwise terrible against Terran. Frozean's also bad against Terran, but I think that's more indicative of his complete inconsistency in the matchup. So, and there's, yeah, the 14 command center. Very interesting. Wants to get that early advantage. Fortunately for him, just on the scouting pattern, Frozean's going to end up coming across his base second if he just goes on a normal scouting pattern, but he might go cross position if you keep in mind he might be expecting cheese knowing how bad that Ruby is at Terran versus Terran, so he might go cross positions. I gotta give a slight edge to Frozean just because I think even with inconsistent sloppy play, I think he can take Ruby down because Ruby's just not very good Terran versus Terran at all. Factory going down on his end, he's got that Barracks, yeah, floating down to the bottom right hand corner. Now the gas down for Ruby, and I like the position of that Barracks right there by Ruby because that's the thing about Neo Harmony. It'll be interesting to see this mid-game because it's really going to be a big map control just across the middle of the map. You can almost divide it in half, and that's what it'll look like. But anyway, we'll see who decides to go for the upper left-hand corner and who decides to go for the bottom right-hand corner as far as additional expansions. Well, going for minerals past your basic two front bases. But I really like that Barracks locations because that's one of the things about Neo Harmony is you can get attacked from both directions, especially going a 14cc. You need to kind of be in more of a defensive stance, and it's so difficult to defend from both directions, so you might as well block one off. I like that. Frozean looked like for a moment, you can see that scouting pattern by that SCV. I thought he might actually go cross position, but turning around, and I'm not sure why he went I feel like that's the long way around as opposed to the short way around, but going the long way around, and he's getting a command center down now as well, so going and being a little bit greedy with that too, playing very risky. Wow, it's a good thing that he's not going up against a 2-factory or anything else that's just in standard and Terran play, because any other build almost, except kind of the mirror of a kind of the safe fast expansion, he might have been in trouble there, because going for a soft command center and the barracks going up, I'm sorry, bunker going up on that front door to help defend, and kind of I think some vultures might be able to slip by, but that's why that marine's blocking that ramp at the forward position. It's going to be a while before a vulture comes out, so I think Ruby got away with one just because of that quick, so he's going to be a little bit economically ahead, not horribly economically ahead, because keep in mind it's basically factory versus expansion and then factory, so a little bit of a tech advantage for Frozean, a little bit of and also scouting advantage for, I'm sorry, Ruby having the scouting advantage and economic advantage, but a little, yeah, slight tech advantage for, no, I did that right, scouting advantage for Ruby, and it looks like a cancel of the factory, second factory going down now, realizing that he switched into a fast expansion. Might just try to put down a couple quick factories down, maybe push against this, realizing that Frozean's also gone for an expansion here. Sorry, that was a really long, complicated string of talk there. Frozean's expansion is now up. Again, he's going to be slightly delayed comparatively, but he will have, with that machine shop down, have that slight tech advantage. 2 vultures starting to push up. Frozean's getting his second factory down now. Looks like Ruby already has his second factory up, has that front door blocked off, and now getting his machine shop down as well. And I'll be curious who decides to be the aggressor early. And we saw that really in the winners match. Spoilers, of course, if you guys haven't watched it, don't be silly, go watch it. Spoilers. If actually that barracks being lifted off for scouting purposes, I guess he feels a little bit safer. I'm a little bit wary of him doing that. That bunker does cover the right, but vultures can still sneak out of range on that bottom right hand corner and get some SCV kills. He's going to have to rely, if Frozean does decide to be the aggressor, he's going to be a little bit vulnerable as a result, but that can really pay off early if you can, again, use vultures to kind of weave through or maybe sneak some into the main. We'll see who decides to be the aggressor. It didn't pay off for Kanata in the winners match. Nada just did a fantastic job of getting behind with those drops, isolating that additional expansion off and just getting ahead, one expansion ahead, and just capitalizing from that point on. Nada looking very strong. Spoiler again, he ended up winning. I'm glad he's advancing and looking good advancing here. I want to see him make it into a round of 8. I don't know if he's in form enough to take a championship, although if he plays like he played game 1, I could see him taking a championship. But still, anyway, 4 factories going down on both ends. So let's get the look at the machine shops. That'll be really the big indicator. It looks like the barracks floating ahead. A couple vultures now on the defense. No second gas capped there for Ruby just yet. More supply depots going down, it looks like, just to boost that troop count. There are some mines. Keep in mind you've got that wall of mines across the middle of the map to prevent some sort of tank push. I like this. Nice on Frozean's part. Going to isolate his front door, get a couple tanks out to deal with any vultures that might be incoming. Playing a little bit more defensively. 2 machine shops down for him. And it looks like he's just going to, play some standard into expansion play, it looks like. And I think that's being mirrored by Ruby on the opposite end. He's got looks like those Marines still trying to hammer away at that barracks. That barracks trying to pull out. He's getting a good look at that SCV saturation on the secondary to get an idea. And also, I think he might want to move a little bit to the north to kind of get a good look at how many vultures are there, whether he's going to be pressed against. Although I think if those vultures do take off, and there's we're seeing the 5th factory down. It looks like a 6th factory going to go down as well. So we're going to see something similar to what Kanata did in a 5th factory now for Frozean. I think Kanata, and I think that SCV that was isolated there, just kind of hanging out. I think that might be to build that additional factory. So it's going to again be 6 factories versus 5 factories, and it's going to be up to Frozean to capitalize, basically to hold out and then capitalize on additional expansion before basically Ruby on the opposite end can capitalize on his superior troop count. And it depends, again, a lot of it depends on composition and then of course micro. So there's, it looks like, actually no, 6 factories on the opposite end from Frozean as well. So he's putting down additional factory, also getting an academy down. So both players going mirror builds, and with that I've got to feel like that early economic edge not going to play so huge at this stage. A lot more vultures, not a lot of tanks down. So I have to feel that, although there's a lot of mines out in the middle of the map, I've got to feel that Frozean has a slight edge, at least in that regard, just because he has tanks rather than vultures, and tanks obviously a lot better against vultures than just pure vultures alone, dependent of course on mine placement. But I've got to assume, and a lot of mines being placed out kind of in the middle of the field at mirrored positions. Tanks moving forward and taking out a couple of free vultures here, and it looks like Ruby gonna have to back off. So he's not, I think he's not in a position to be the aggressor anymore. Frozean getting both academies down so he can get a comms hat off. So 6 factories versus 6 factories. This is going to be very interesting, and both players, we'll see if they just decide to go headlong into each other and try to be just directly aggressive. And it looks like, I'm not sure what's at the 12 o'clock position, but something's spotting there. We might see Frozean go for that. You really do need a larger troop count kind of into the middle of the late game on this map, just because you've got a lot of territory to press, and you just need a large troop count to try to defend. And also with those additional factories, you can have a lot of success pushing and being aggressive and keeping your opponent back while you're taking an expansion yourself. I think that's what Ruby's plan is right now. I'm going to use these vultures, try to harass, try to keep him back while I take my expansion, although he is in a position to do so. But I think he's not going to be able to, mine going off, taking out down a tank right there. Didn't take out any vultures alongside. I don't think he's going to be able to, though, because all of his mines being wiped out. He's trying to plant down some more mines in the backfield, but just getting pressed slowly back, and I think this is going to force him, and a little bit, this is going to allow Frozean, basically, because he's being the aggressor, he's going to be able to take an additional expansion Well, Ruby will not be able to. He's going to have to try to scramble his troops out. Looks like he's getting some more supply depots down, now rallying his troops in the middle, now trying to create, looks like a degree of isolation. He does have some siege tanks there isolated in the middle, and now we're seeing, and I think this is going to be what is going to be indicative across a lot of this game, is just large troop groupings across the middle here. I don't think they're going to engage a lot. I think the key is really going to be who takes what where, whether they can take the upper left-hand base, the bottom right-hand base, and I think the way we're going to see it is going to see Frozean go